Start.
Welcome to Let's Grab a Cup podcast. This is where we talk about leadership, authenticity, resiliency, and we provide a place to hold space for one another. I'm your host, Adam Sturgeon. So why don't you grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever suits you at this moment. Let's dive in. Well, welcome to Let's Grab a Cup podcast. I am Adam Sturgeon. And today on the show, I have a special show today. We have Brad and Heather Davis. They live in Arizona, right? Arizona. And Brad has been in the Border Patrol for the last 13 years. And in 2021, Brad and Heather decided to start their own coffee roasting business called Battleborn Coffee Roasters, which is fantastic coffee. If you ever order a pack, I got the multi-pack, you get that and you get a sticker on top of it, which I added to my water bottle. So it's fantastic. So today we'd like to welcome you guys. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
So like we start most of these shows, I really just like to know like your background. We'll kind of back up to how you grew up, where you guys both grew up and how you guys met, and you guys can like bounce off each other if you like. And then kind of what led you into the first responder world and get into the Border Patrol. So it's where did you guys grow up?
We grew up in southern Indiana, so back in the Midwest. Both of us kind of in tiny towns.
The same town, basically. Yeah. Same central town, but we lived in the outskirts. We're on separate sides of the town, but we grew up in the same town.
Okay. Yeah. Did you know each other growing up?
No. We met at our first jobs. We both worked at the same place, actually.
Where was that?
So we were serving hamburgers. And
I was 17 and he was 16. And we started dating. It was 27 years ago, a couple days ago.
Oh, congratulations. Wow.
That was our first date. So, yeah. All through high school and college. And
so so I know Brad went into law enforcement. Heather, what direction were you going when you're in your younger years?
I was a graphic designer.
Okay.
In Cincinnati. Chiquita was my last job. I really liked that.
Really?
Yeah. When he got the EOD, he had to start with the Border Patrol. I had to leave. So we moved across the country and we moved to such a small town that there wasn't really much work to be had. And then I started homeschooling. And I'm like, okay, I don't really need to work now.
So do you create all the designs for Battleborn?
I do, yeah.
That's really cool.
Really fit in nice with that because she can do it. And I mean, silly thing, this is probably jumping way ahead, but like designing labels and stuff, she asks me a color, like she'll ask, what color are we doing? Because all of our bags have kind of an overall color.
Yeah.
Green or orange or yellow or whatever. Which orange? I'm like, I don't know, orange. Like, it's not that hard, but then to her, there's a million different oranges.
You got dusty orange and
with the other colors, you know, it's got to be in the whole scheme. So
that's so funny. So who makes the ultimate decision on the color?
She does.
Yeah, probably me.
I mean, it makes sense.
He's like, whatever.
I'm more with that. I'm more big picture, and she's real intricate. And with the coffee, I get real. Especially with making it, with the actual product itself, I'm real.
He's super OCD about it.
Details matter. And she's like, it's, she doesn't understand.
Roasting. It's good that I'm not in charge of the roasting. Yeah.
So it works good together.
That's so funny. So we'd be getting like an off coffee brand if it was Heather's job to roast.
Yeah, it would not taste very good.
No,
it wouldn't be as good as yours. I know that. It definitely wouldn't be consistent.
Yeah, consistency is important.
So where do you think that OCD? Where do you think that comes from?
Oh,
Mom,
your family.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
My mom's
generation.
What did your parents do?
Well, they're both retired now. They're in their 70s, but my dad worked in a factory while I was growing up. They made plastic bags.
He was just an electrician.
Yeah, but he worked at
Almost,
like he
yeah.
was a maintenance guy at a factory.
Oh, okay.
So fix machines that would go down, or assembly stuff or whatnot. And he was an electrician, so he would do that on the side. And then after he quit the factory, he did that like as a full time, but like on his own, because he had such a he's super intelligent. He's OCD about that kind of stuff.
They're both very hard workers and very dedicated to their jobs.
Yeah.
So I think that was like number one.
You think this is where you get your dedication for? Like you're kind of like your OCD. Like I'm gonna make sure this is perfect.
Could be.
I don't know, like with the coffee, like so her and I drank very different coffees before. I drank coffee for the personality of the company.
The brand.
Okay.
Brand.
Yeah. We bought by brands, and
All right.
I was a graphic designer. I work with a lot of marketing people. I'm like, nah, I want good tasting coffee. I don't care what y'all are saying. Like, I just want it to be good.
Yeah. So I cared less about that, I guess.
Yeah.
I should have, but I didn't. And then she was drinking like some local stuff from smaller places and organic this and all this kind of stuff. And yeah. Well, I didn't care so much. And then when we started all this, it's like, well, why don't we just take the two ideas, the personality and the identity, or however you want to call it,
Yeah.
put it with the quality that she drank for, and merge those two ideas. And that's kind of where we are, like with all of our coffee being organic, whether certified or like one of them isn't certified. It's a direct trade coffee, so we talk to the farmer. We know what's important to us is that it isn't like chemically sprayed and
Yeah.
those are the important things.
The certification really isn't that big of a deal because we're also not organically certified, so we can't claim that on our label.
Okay.
Our roastery itself would need to be certified organic, so I can't claim that. But all of our coffees are definitely clean and not sprayed.
So they all are organic, even though they're not certified organic.
Everything is certified.
Except for the one.
Everything is certified raw as we get it.
Yeah.
But because the FDA, with the way we're doing the roastery, not currently being in our shed here, where'd that go?
Oh no. Oh,
we're
because I
still
got
there.
a call. Yeah. Go ahead.
But so we're covered under cottage law in Arizona.
Okay.
So I mean everything's legal, but it's just because the FDA hasn't certified our premise, our location here, our building, and all of that as organic. We can't use that word legally. So it's just a bunch of play on word silliness.
Interesting. How hard is it to get certified?
It wouldn't be hard if
I
we
think
had
it's
more money.
Yeah.
Like everything else, huh?
Yeah, I think it's thousands of dollars. I actually haven't looked into it, but
And we
yeah.
have to get another
need a different location.
We would have to have even a warehouse where you have like a bathroom and a sink and running water and the drainage is proper and like all. We don't have a sink in here, we
wash our hands in the house and then come out here and
our house
roast.
is right there.
Yeah.
Come out here and make the coffee and but it's just a matter of paying rent at a place like that. We're not that big yet, so it's baby steps. We could have taken out a big loan and gone all in, but we didn't want to have payments.
Yeah, I think you're doing it right. Yeah, start small and make sure everything's done correctly, and you'll get to the point where then you'll need a warehouse versus like forcing yourself into a place. You know what I mean?
Looking forward to that day.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back. How did you decide that you were going to go towards law enforcement, or how did you end up in the Border Patrol, Brad?
We lived in kind of a crappy neighborhood for 8 years.
Yeah.
And it got progressively worse as long as we were there. We moved in right at like literally months after September 11th.
Yeah.
and it I mean, it wasn't a wonderful neighborhood, but it was a really cool old house built in 1905, and it was we could afford it.
Yeah.
So
First house, like
we bought that, and then it got worse and worse and worse, and then we kind of saw stuff that the news would even gloss over, and like we would see things happen like with our own eyes, and then hear the news story, and it's like that's not true.
That's not what happened.
yeah,
We watched that.
yeah.
That's false, fake, and we saw that nobody was doing anything.
Were you near? Were you near? You said
We were
Indiana. Where in Indiana?
This was in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
this
we,
is Cincinnati. Okay,
since we grew up in such a small town in Indiana, we had to move to Cincinnati, Ohio,
Got it.
which is about an hour away, 45 minutes or so. And we could actually have jobs there because there were positions for us. Brad was actually a
I
jeweler.
was a jeweler.
really?
Yeah, he made my wedding ring.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Customized personally. I like that.
Yeah, made all from scratch.
Second one.
Yeah, I didn't like that first one.
So I had
Are you allowed to do that? Oh, come on.
No, hold on.
Dude, it was bad.
It wasn't. So I worked. So this was a small shop. We were bench jewelers. We weren't salesmen or nothing like that. We would sit at wooden benches and itty bitty chairs and make things with torches and metal.
And not really a jewelry designer.
No, I wasn't. I was
because people would always come up to you with ideas, and there were
either ideas
two
or
custom
fixed.
guys, or just one.
Just one.
One custom guy that would design the stuff, and then Brad could kind of go from his, take his lead. But
so we, I was young. We were, I was like this dude.
24.
I sat right next to a guy who was back then he was in his mid-60s, and he was incredible. He could do anything with metal or wax or whatever. Like just it was mind blowing. But he made this really awesome ring for some customer one day, and it was just it might still be the coolest ring I've ever seen. I was like, I'm gonna do that. So it didn't. I mean, he would have done a way better job. But I tried.
Was it like a Super Bowl ring? Like how big was this thing?
Oh no, it was. So it was.
So it ended up.
It was going to be a round. That was the diamond. It was a round center stone in a bezel.
Same diamond.
So it's going to be like a wrapped, thing. And then if you're looking down on it, imagine the band, going out to the sides. And then it had these two. The one he did was two. So it was platinum and I want to say 18 karat yellow gold. So it was like very opposing colors, like a deep yellow and a white. And he made it all by hand, out of metal, no wax, no nothing. Like just out of metal. It was insane. 1, 2, 4 pieces of metal. And I was like, well, I know exactly what it looks like. So it was the coolest thing ever. And so I made a wax for one metal, one piece, and I was like, it's gonna be even better. And in my mind, it was. And then when it came, you send the wax off to be cast, and it comes back as this giant chunk of metal, and I was like, holy crap! All right, so I worked on it, and it wasn't what it was gonna be,
And in the meantime, he's got the diamond, right? Yeah. So he's already got the diamonds, because there were different round ones. Anyway, different diamonds. So he had all the stones, and he's got this platinum, and he's already put out all the money, and he's still waiting to propose to me, right? So he's excited about doing that. So he's finally just like, oh my God, I'm just gonna put the stones in, and I'm gonna propose, and then that'll be it. And so when he proposed, he got the ring out, and I was like, is this for real? Like, is this a joke? Because it looks like a bow tie.
No.
A polka dotted bow tie. The center of the dot tie is the diamond, and there were like two, like
yeah, I know what you're saying.
triangle shapes with little round stones that look like polka dots. I didn't say a word. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't mention it to him. I knew how long he had been working on it. But then, like a couple weeks later, he's like, I'm just not happy with that ring. And I was like, me neither.
It was a solid, real effort. Like it was.
It was really nicely done. It was really well done. It looked like a bow tie.
Agreed. It wasn't. I wish that I had pictures of this dude's what it was done after.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phone cameras back then.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Well,
did you have to redo the whole proposal, or did that count?
Oh, no. He just traded it out. Yeah.
Okay. So what year was this? You said 27. This is 28 years ago. 27 years ago.
No. When we got engaged, what?
2002.
Yeah, maybe like 2002.
Okay.
No, we were still in the apartment. I swear we were, but maybe
around 2002.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't know.
Maybe it was 01.
Okay, so you're in Cincinnati. It's 02, 01. You've seen all the stuff going on around you that you're kind of like distrusting what's going on in like the media and the world and everything. And you decide you're a jeweler. You're a jeweler-ish at this point.
No.
Making bow ties.
We got
after that.
So I got kicked out of the jewelry business. Not really. So I was at a small shop, and the jewelry. So in 06, 7, 8, like in that time frame, you might remember there was the whole like housing crash. There was all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so the little places were closing up. They just weren't surviving. So I went to 3 different. The first place came in. They gave us, I don't remember how many months. They're like, hey, we're closing. It's just not working. I'm not making money. Gave us a few months to find another job. I did. That wasn't really what I was doing. It was a polisher, and I wasn't a polisher, and I thought I could, but turns out they know a lot more than I did about polishing. And so that didn't work. Went to another jewelry shop. Then 6 months later, on my birthday, was that on my birthday?
Was it?
It was in February for sure. We walked in, it was all like different. I'm like, what is going on here? And then the owners walked in, they're like, hey guys, crying. She was crying. We gotta let you all go. We're closing up the shop. You're gone today, so go home. There was that one. So then I was like, I'm gonna be a professional athlete. And
he always liked cycling.
Okay.
Cycling.
Is that 25, 26? How old were you?
Around there, 24,
like
5, 6.
Yeah.
That's when you decided to be a professional athlete, 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you decided, well, then you were going to be a personal trainer. Too.
I was doing some personal training and on this as a side
certified,
gig. Like, I'm going to race bikes now. Oh, I was already, but like
for real, let's do this. Like, to be a pro.
Yeah.
Where were you at? What were you doing on this, Heather? What were you doing? Were you doing the graphic design stuff?
Yeah.
So were you the stable one in the relationship then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kept the job. Yeah. I held down the fort. I paid the bills. Yeah.
Got it.
We didn't have any kids yet. We decided I was going to let him have until we were 30.
We didn't even say that long. I said, let's give this a year or two and see.
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought, like, I was good. I was a good amateur. But I was like, let's see what happens, like, if I am not working. And
like, can really dedicate all
focus. Yeah.
I was competing against people who that was their job in the same events. Like, I was up there. So it's like, well, I wonder what happens if I'm also not working and riding full time, training full time. I ended up tearing a hamstring. It went downhill kind of quickly. But
it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. So then, so I started applying for. I went to Cincinnati PD because we were there.
Made the most sense. We lived in town,
Went to a recruiter, talked to them, heard some very interesting things. Which, can say it?
I don't see why not.
I was.
It's the truth.
It is the truth. This is true, but They straight up told me and another guy. This dude was a veteran too, white guy, and the dude straight up said like, "Hey, you're not black or a female, so good
Don't
luck."
even apply.
Good luck.
You don't stand a chance.
And I'm like, all right. Well,
And this is 2008, 2010.
no, not 10.
Seven,
Pre 10.
6, 7.
8, 6, 7, 8. Something around there.
Interesting.
And I mean, I was told that before too, but so we applied. I applied many, not many, several other places.
Tried to go to San Diego.
We did, yeah, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, we did Phoenix. It was just what
to be a police. Those are all police officer jobs.
Yeah,
right.
So
He wanted to do some kind of law
we're gonna
enforcement.
fix stuff.
Yeah, you see it every day.
Yeah.
Man, somebody's got to do something about this.
You had high hopes.
Yeah.
And so we put in for this too, the BP stuff, and it's just kind of like.
So wait, say that again. Sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
We put in for Border Patrol too.
Okay.
Kind of all in the same.
Around the same time, but Border Patrol takes like a year just to get everything processed. You got to do tests and health tests and physicals and submit this and submit that, and it's just a whole bunch of steps.
The FBI came to our house and talked to us.
They came to my friends, had to talk to my friends, like my friends, not his friend, my friends.
I don't know if it's still that way. But.
I know, it was crazy. I'm like, wow, that's really intense.
There's a couple of Border Patrol guys when I was younger who were trying to get me to apply. And I had to be like in college at the time. I don't even know how I met them, but yeah, I remember then they were like really like trying to like apply in California.
Yeah.
Didn't, but they're trying, they were trying hard.
Did they go or no?
These two guys were already in it. They had already started and they were telling me I wasn't out of college yet. I was too young, but they were like, hey, this is why you should do this. And so because I was still trying to figure out if I was going federal or city at the time. So it's interesting. It feels like it's completely different how they handle anything, but
I think it is. Yeah. I think currently, I think everybody's kind of screwy. It's things are just weird right now.
yeah.
Forever. I mean, we deal with city PD. Where I'm stationed, there's a town there, so we deal with those guys. And it's interesting. Both sides are like, yeah, it's just wait. Just do what you can and wait, and it'll hopefully correct.
So they hire you. Did you stick with just that one application process, or were you still trying to go with multiple?
Well, I was in a lot of processes. And Cincinnati, obviously, I got nowhere. Indianapolis, I was like part of a class.
Oh yeah, you had to do a training thing or something.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I was in a not a class, but like a group going to a class or something. I forget how they called it, but then that was like lost funding. It was kind of in that same 6, 7, 8, whatever time period where funding was disappearing. It was there and then it's not, and so that didn't work out. Phoenix was, I forget what. San Diego was, and everything was just like taking forever.
Yeah.
And Border Patrol just was the one that happened, the one that went far. Hey, do you want the job? It's like yes. And immediately
yes,
thereafter,
please.
Immediately thereafter, Chiquita moved.
Yeah.
So she would have lost her job.
I would have.
Within a few months after I left, anyway.
Yeah, and I had no idea
where they moved to.
North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Don't they have like I always think I see like Chiquita stuff like outside of the country, or if maybe it was Hawaii.
Oh yeah, no, they have other stuff too, but like the North American headquarters, as far as I know, most recently are in North Carolina now.
Interesting.
It was in Cincinnati.
I made a second.
fresh cup.
I can only take one cup. This is my cold cup of coffee.
This is number 2.
Yeah, I always have 2 in the morning.
These law enforcement guys. Oh, you can only do 1 too?
Oh, I do 2 in the morning
Yeah,
for sure.
just
Yeah,
a
and
lot
then
more.
and then I usually need 1 after lunch.
Yeah. I can't do that. That's too much for me.
Spilled it everywhere.
So the border patrol, they decided to move you, or is it part of the process?
You have to go. So, I mean, you have to. At the time, it was Southwest border. It was that's where you're going.
They tell you which station you're going to. You don't
You
get to
can
choose like your
approve it.
town. Yeah, you can tell them no. We told them no on our first offer, which was in Texas, and then the second offer, if we turned that down, we were out. Like
Really?
we weren't going to another offer.
Go start
Yeah.
over.
You're rolling the dice.
What, start over?
Yeah, like you have to start the process
Oh,
over.
yeah. Yeah, you have to start the application process over again and go through all the hoops again. So it's like, okay, like we gotta take that second one, whatever it is.
Why not Texas?
It was near El Paso.
It was in New Mexico. It was near El Paso.
He hates New Mexico because that's where he had to do his training.
I
I think it's beautiful. I love it there.
You know, you hear all this stuff. Like, we still believed what the news, not what the news was saying. But you still take things at face value. We still took things then at face value. And El Paso being right across the border from Juarez, you hear all these horrible Juarez stories, right? Oh,
Right.
These drug cartels are murdering people right, left, and center, every night, everywhere, coming into El Paso.
And we had just had our first baby.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be in that situation.
Yeah,
You know,
no, that makes sense.
Living in downtown, not downtown, but like in town in Cincinnati, kind of in the hood. So I was like, we need to make it a little better. I don't want to go back into more of this, you know.
And we had this vision of, we're gonna go to
California is where it's at. It's
we're gonna go to San
great.
Diego. It's gonna be wonderful.
It's gonna be beaches. It's gonna be warm. No more snow. Oh, it's gonna be great. We're gonna love California. Right?
And
that was the goal. Huh?
And
then we moved to California. We're like, California sucks. I don't want to live here anymore.
Where did you end up? Where did you end up in California?
Twice as much.
I was stationed in Calexico, but we lived in El Centro and Imperial, which is
it's basically
the same town, just different street signs.
Yeah.
For those that don't know where Calexico is, can you explain it in California?
It's about the middle of the state on the border, so it's
on the south.
Yeah, on the southern border, about halfway through the state. So San Diego headed east, you have the mountains, and it drops down, and it's below sea level for like an hour and a half. You're down there, so okay. It's below sea level, really hot, really dry, never any rain.
It's the same environment as like Phoenix.
It's worse by far.
How far away is that from San Diego?
There's nothing around.
What's that?
How far away were you guys from San Diego or for the beaches?
Like from the beaches, say like it was like an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Yeah. But you go, so I want to say it was like, we had it down. It was like a half hour to the base of the mountains, another half hour to the checkpoint at Campo, and then another half hour to the beaches or something.
That sounds about
something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was an hour.
It's not terribly far.
No, we were there every weekend.
Yeah, like we had to because the town is just not friendly to law enforcement.
Not friendly to anything.
Not friendly to people who haven't grown up there.
Really?
Yeah, they really don't like outsiders. So yeah, it made it really difficult to try and, I did have a group of moms who were there's also a military base, the Blue Angels trained there.
Yeah.
So I had some friends in the military, I had some other friends in Border Patrol, but other than that, nobody really wants to talk to you. Yeah. Try and smile at people at the store, and they're like, okay, I just won't look at anyone.
How many years did you spend there?
4. And then we moved to Yuma.
Then we finally realized, hey, let's go to Yuma. You finally talked me into it. You wanted to go well before I did.
Transfer? Is that a transfer?
He just drove. That's an hour.
I did the commute. At the time, there was a lot of work was there were, how do I say this? I like guns. We had guns. We had all sorts of stuff that was bought legally. And then California made some changes, and they even would come into work and like they put this out to everyone, like, hey, you shouldn't have this stuff anymore. And it's like, well, what we do? So don't take it anywhere because it's getting weird. And then there was some guys at work that were getting in trouble for stuff, and it's like, see ya, we're going to Yuma. So
Don't want to have to deal with your California crap anymore.
so we went to Yuma, and I did the commute for 5 years. We had a carpool, there's other guys that were doing it.
How far away is that, Yuma?
It was right at an hour. We lived kind of on the east side of Yuma, so
yeah, out of town.
it was still an hour. It was like 65 miles door to door.
All right.
But call it an hour.
But it took us that long to get transferred to another station.
And it took
Well,
5 years to
We probably could have taken maybe like Otho, but like to get to a town like Tucson is kind of, in our mind, it's the best of the stations because you can actually be in town and like have a normal life and not live out in the middle of nowhere 3 hours from everything.
Right.
There are
because a
people
lot of the
doing that.
stations are really far away from anything. So
And how many?
we're really lucky to be able to get this station.
Yeah. Is it like a seniority thing? How you pick stations?
Yep. It's
That's
a
why it took
seniority
that
and a
long.
need for, if a station doesn't need anyone, then it's not on the list. If you can put in for what's open, and where you want to go might not be open. There were times that there was nothing in San Diego area. Like, you can put in to go wherever you want, but only
no
these 5 stations. So yeah, but Nogales is good. It's 68 miles door to door.
Still got the long commute because we wanted to live in town and not down there.
So how many kids did you have at this point?
3 girls.
3 girls, and you were commuting an hour plus away.
Yeah.
Plus it's a 10-hour shift every day.
And did you ever have days where you had to stay at the station because you were there too long for like doubles or anything like that, or did you always come home?
I always come home. I never. I mean, I have extra clothes in the locker or whatever, but I come home. Like if something really weird like that happens, I don't know that I have. I've had some late nights, but like, you can make it so that if something happens, you can take a day off.
Yeah, you can come in later the next day or make up for it.
Yeah.
They're understanding in that way.
Not every station has as much flexibility as where I'm at, but.
And were you working 4 or 3 days a week? How many days a week were you working? 5?
Yeah.
5 10s?
5 10s.
Wow. It's a lot of time away.
Yeah.
How was that for you, Heather? Right, with the 3 girls?
Well, you kind of get used to it. And we don't have any family over here, really. His sister and mom live up in Phoenix, but that's 2 hours away. So I don't really have any support. So you just figure out how to do things on your own. And that's why it's like I can run the coffee business, whatever. It's fine. I'm already homeschooling. I'm already raising the kids. Like, Brad pops in and we get to spend some time with him, and I try not to put too much on him. So I try to handle most of the stuff. That way he can just focus on supporting us, and I try and manage the rest of everything.
So you're still doing 5 10s right now?
Yeah.
And you're doing the coffee full time? Oh, on your time.
It's not full time.
And that's why, like, we don't have a coffee shop. We don't have a.
Yeah.
We're not serving anywhere right now. We were doing the market. That was the hardest, I think.
It was. That was a lot. It was good financially, but
for the business, yeah.
But when we got kicked out of there, we really actually did get kicked out of there.
I think you were telling me about this.
Yeah. the it sucked to take the financial hit, and I really it shows you that like in your mind you think, oh well, these customers are buying, you're selling whatever 15 bags a day at the market. You're thinking, well, that's so a week. Call it because we were there once a week. Call that 15 bags a week. It's like, oh well, I'll still keep those customers, because we can do online and local deliveries and all this. Well, they'll still buy from us. It's like
they don't,
zero.
because we're not out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, I can say me too.
There are a couple
We did get a
that
couple
have hung on and stuck with us, but they go to the market. Lots of them go to the market every week, and that's just what
That's
they
what
do.
they do. Yeah.
We're already there, so they picked up our coffee, and now it's wherever they go. So.
So you're in Yuma, and this is what year?
We were there from 13 to 18.
Yeah.
In Yuma.
One kid to another kid. Yeah.
And then you transferred after that.
Every time
you had a kid, you move.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Every time I got pregnant, we would move and everything. Come on, this is terrible. He's working, he's gone 12 hours a day. I got to pack everything. I got to figure this out. I got to move all these boxes. I'm 8 months pregnant. Not cool.
Not cool. Oh man. All right. So now are you settled now where you're at?
Yeah.
So what station are you? I don't even want to tell you what station you're at now, or don't talk about that.
Nogales. I'm at Nogales, and we live in Tucson.
Is that a far drive?
Yeah, it's still an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because it's so close to the cities are so close to the border as far as like where the stations are?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Station here in Tucson, but if you don't have like 50 years in,
never gonna make it.
Not literally, but you know what I mean.
I got you.
It takes a while.
It's like all the San Diego stuff, like guys that
I don't know how anybody gets into that station.
guys that were getting transferred to San Diego sector when I came over here with my same time in, we're still, I don't know if you know a lot about the area down there, but do you know where Campo or Boulevard is?
No.
So kind of, they're like
out of town.
Yeah, like maybe what? 30,
half hour, yeah.
30, 45 minutes out of town. So depending on where people live, they still have an hour commute living in San Diego.
If they want to live in San Diego.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, some of those guys live, like I know a guy who lives in Coronado, which is as far out there as you can get.
Yeah.
And he's in one of those stations now, and he has it's an hour, solid hour commute for him. But he's living at home.
Right.
But he can't get closer stations because everybody wants that.
There's a lot of competition. It's hard to get.
I mean, even with 13 years in, you have no seniority.
Yeah.
And after like 5, you feel like I have 5 years on, and now I have 13. You still can't get where you want to go.
Yeah.
Or your days off.
We got Tucson.
What,
No,
So now going back to like when you were growing up, or when you guys were together and you were living in Cincinnati and seeing all this stuff going on around you, and this whole idea of like, I want to make a difference and change things because I see how things are handled. Okay, now you've seen, it's been 13 years now, right? You've seen that the way that things are handled now, impact that you've been able to make. Have you been able to do what you've thought you could do, or B, what you wanted to do? No one can hear you shaking your head no, by the way.
But you do like your job. I can't see him doing anything else that he would enjoy this much, honestly. He does really seem to enjoy it. So it may not be what he expected.
It's weird because I've seen, so it's 13 years. Let's go back. How many presidents have we had? We had Bush, obviously. We had
Obama.
At the
it started with Obama.
Sure.
But Bush, the Bush trickle, right? They trickle over.
It didn't quite
with
kick
Obama,
in.
Trump,
Obama, and
Trump.
Trump and Biden. So without getting super political, I've seen very different border patrols in 13 years.
Does it fluctuate that much between presidents?
You don't notice it, and like you see it happening, and it's like, oh, Trump's
I
hot.
think it does. Yeah.
It's huge. It's astronomical.
Really?
Like, mind blowing.
Yeah. Very
And-
surprising.
And you didn't like I didn't notice the Trump stuff, I guess, and probably until after he was gone.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's
Things
just
slowly got
things are
better.
getting better, and it's like, fuck yeah, like, you know.
In
You
what
find-
can you explain in what way when you mean it's getting better?
Supported. You're like people are actually getting in trouble for their crimes,
there's-
and
there were, and I'm sure this is the case for good leadership anywhere, but like, Trump was talking about the wall. Oh, we're going to build the wall, the wall, the wall. Everybody's all focused on this wall. And I remember the wall starting the wall. I've been places with fence. We call it the fence. As fences are effective in certain manners. In some places of the border, a fence doesn't make sense. It's a waste of money, and it doesn't make sense. But in that area, maybe a bunch of sensors make sense, or maybe drones make sense. Different things for different areas for different reasons.
Yeah, topography. Topography? How do you say that? Topography.
Or like population.
Yeah.
If you have a city on the south side and a city on the north side, and all there is a street to separate, it's like clearly they could bum rush that, and we could lose tons of people quickly and easily, right? They could crossing is super easy. But if you have no population and a bunch of mountains, obviously crossing it becomes harder.
and miles and
It takes
miles
more
of
time.
dry, hot desert.
Right.
So fences make sense in some areas and less in others. But in the towns, the fences go up. And I remember when I guess Trump was in, because I remember having this conversation in Calexico with somebody who lived there, or maybe they were just coming down, because people will come down and see the fence. Oh, I gotta see the fence. And this person was like, oh, this is a stupid, they were anti-border fence, this individual. Oh, this stupid border wall and this and that. And I'm like, bro, Trump just got in like last week. This is Obama's funding. This has been, it's not like Trump comes in and the wall goes up tomorrow.
Right.
Funding has been approved for that months and months and months and months ago. These workers didn't just show up out of the blue. This has been in the works for many months. So calm down. This is Obama's wall. That's not true. It's like, okay. Clearly, and what I have learned is everybody knows way more about the border than the people at the border.
Yeah,
So, like,
they don't want to hear
It's
about
like all of police work.
In the Midwest, everybody knows all about the border.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But
but he goes there every day.
what do I know? Clearly.
I don't get it.
So, but back to your question, I guess. Walls and fences aside, like policy changes, there were consequences. There was not. I gotta be careful not to get too conspiratorial, but like,
Don't slap him on the hand and let him go.
or let me just ask a question. Do you think one morning 20,000 people in Mexico, Guatemala, where they pick the country, just wake up and decide we're going to America right now, and then there are people just mobilized and enable this to happen?
Do I think that?
Yeah.
No, I think planning goes into it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get that many people moving, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever tried to plan an event where you have people coming,
Who's
really
paying
hard
for
to
it?
get them to come.
Who's paying for it? They don't have. They're coming here for a better life, right? We don't have any money. Who pays for all this? It's. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but this is a question that people should ask. Oh, they're just the poor. Say what you want, but then ask questions. Does this make sense? No, it does not make sense. Why was it not happening when Trump was in? Just ask questions. I'm not going to answer anything,
Yeah,
but just
it
ask
happened
questions.
before and it happened after,
But why
but
not
not during. So,
I just pose that question.
Interesting.
So those are things that you don't notice it just trickling off and stopping, but once the floodgates are back open, it's like, whoa, my God, we're not equipped currently for this.
Yeah. Is the Border Patrol short on personnel as well?
And it depends on who you ask. If you ask the people down here, yes. If you ask the people not down here, the rumor is we are overstaffed.
Oh yeah. Does that include everybody that's injured or
Oh yeah,
not able to work? Yeah. Yeah, of course. All right, so we're answering the question. The first question was like, did you make the difference that you wanted to make? And the answer, you shook your head no.
Yeah.
Is there something that you, at this point in your career, 13 years in, I'm guessing you're about halfway through ish to where you like when before retirement?
Hopefully less, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's always hopefully less. Hopefully Battleborn takes off and you can retire on that. Is there something that you wish to accomplish in the remaining years of your time in Border Patrol or want to see happen?
Of course, there's stuff you want to see happen, but you realize that you're nothing and nobody. We are nothing and no one. The regular.
You mean like your cogs?
We are. Yeah.
Or a number? Does that mean like a number?
Yeah. Well, like I never wanted to be management, and part of that was because my previous station was so bad. The management was so bad, and it was a constant fight, constant. And you realize how you're not doing the same job. The jobs aren't the same. We're in the same uniform, but the jobs aren't the same.
Right.
And the people wearing the same uniform say we're overstaffed and understaffed. It's a very different take on everything. So being someone who wants to go make the difference, do the job, be the one doing it, you realize you got to play within what you got to do. You got to play by the rules. You got to stay on track. So there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. And they keep changing the rules on you every few years.
So we kind of have something that I would like to pick up K9. I've been working on that for a little bit, which would be kind of a big change, but would also, I don't know, not make you feel more effective, but like it's a little more cut and dry, I guess. It would maybe open up some more doors. I don't know. It would. They used to get paid more. They used to make more money. And I guess when that happened, when they cut that or stopped that, what they did was they give you, because there's more work. It's more like at home work.
Right. Take care of that dog.
This and that. You work an hour less a day, which would be cool. Because we already have dogs to begin with. It's like, oh, we'll just throw another one in there and No.
I don't know. Have you done some research on this? Because I don't think it's just adding another dog.
Yeah, no, we have. I have friends that are handlers and stuff. So
All right, that's good.
now, I mean, I'm glossing over it, but it would be. I think it'd be a cool
Yeah,
change.
overall, it would be a good thing.
It'd be a cool change and um, a little more.
And you wouldn't have to commute as far.
Oh,
because
the
you could
commute
go
would
to
be a little
the
bit less. Yeah.
to the checkpoint rather than the station.
But it would just be a different. It would be like it's, I mean, it's the same job, but your roles change, and it'd be a kind of a good way to.
So I hear that. Here you're saying that it's going to be less time actually out there, so because you're home more, right? And the commute's less, meaning you're less on the road, meaning you're home more. So it sounds to me like that's the focus, right? The focus is to be home. Hey, and hey, be with your family,
Yeah.
right? You spend several years doing this commute and doing this job, and to get home, and that's your focus.
I won't lie. That's definitely plays into it. So.
I think that's a huge deal. I mean, I think it's really important for not just you, but for Heather, for your family, and like you wanting to focus your time there, even like having like this business. So I kind of want to dive into this business, like how it got started, and you guys decided to start roasting coffee in the end of 2020.
Yeah.
So how did this come about? Like where did coffee come from? Why coffee? And then I'm guessing the machinery comes back to how you growing up around your dad working in a factory, but I don't know if that's even true. So how do we decide on coffee?
I went down to Costa Rica in 2006. No, 2006.
I love Costa Rica.
Yeah. So I was working at Chiquita in Cincinnati, and I went down there, and I was just this little tiny hotel, and there was a breakfast, like a breakfast out there, and the guy says, "Do you want coffee?" I said, "Yeah." He brings a French press out and he sets it on the table, and he walks away, and I didn't have any cream or anything, and I was like,
Well,
how am I going to drink coffee without cream?
Start with before
this. Okay.
We were probably drinking Folgers or some silly.
I just drink whatever's at work. That nasty Maxwell House stuff with the cream, with the powdered creamer.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't care. It was caffeine. It's morning. I have a lot of meetings today. I need to get it. So the guy walked away, and I'm like, I have to be in this meeting. So I take a drink of this coffee, and I was like, what? Coffee can taste good? Like I didn't even know that coffee could taste good. There wasn't even a thing in my head that it was possible that coffee should taste good. So ever since then, we've been obsessed with, like, we started off with a French press, and we would grind our own, and we were super obsessed with really dark roasts. And then it finally progressed. And then in like 2000, fast forward to like 2015, we're living in Yuma, and I'm like, I got this friend who started roasting coffee, and I'm like, I was talking to her, and she said we can just get this little thing that spins the beans around. And Brad's like, I don't want to mess with that. I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool. But he was like, no. And I'm like, all right, fine. And then another.
I was a much angrier person.
He was. He didn't like, his station wasn't the best. You know, they talk about the kind of, you feel like they're always against you. They're always trying to
100%
get you, you know.
Okay.
So once we moved to Tucson, he's a lot more relaxed and happier, and you know, doesn't feel like he's
under a microscope. Yeah.
So then I don't know. Oh, you know, then COVID and
oh yeah, COVID happened. I forgot about that.
You try to go to a coffee shop, and they're all, how do we say?
They're all woke. They're wearing the masks.
Yeah, they're fully drinking the Kool-Aid about the COVID, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know,
I never believed
December of 2020. We're like, we've all survived this. Let's move on. Like the masks aren't helping.
There were people who didn't buy into it from the beginning.
Yeah, which is where we are.
And then, you know, and to each their own. Like do the research and make your own decisions, but like then leave. You do you. I'll do me.
Yeah. And we just walk in and get a cup of coffee without you being.
Well,
we got refused service at a bakery because my family wasn't wearing masks. They wouldn't come. They wouldn't come up to the counter. They were like 30 feet behind the counter. They wouldn't come up to it. I'm like,
place. Yeah, we're in Cincinnati. Yeah. Anyway, so he goes into a local place and he walks in. It's just, are you going?
I was driving to work. I was going to work. So I had already given up on the company that I was buying coffee from. I had a coffee subscription.
The big one that all the law enforcement like.
I try to, to each their own. Do you? I've done way more research on some people than probably I should have, and I decided to do something different. I had stopped doing that and was trying to find
local
what
coffee
are we
that he
going to do
liked.
now?
Because he didn't like the one that I had. Mine was very light. And so he wanted to find his own coffee locally that he could get. We try to support small businesses, local businesses.
We weren't, we were bouncing around. And I went to a local shop on my way to work one day, green pants, green undershirt,
Everybody in Tucson knows your Border Patrol when
right.
I want a cup of coffee on my way to work. I didn't have any here at the house that day, whatever. So I ran in and I was like, hey, I just want a cup of coffee. I hadn't done this for a long time. And she's like, you need to wear a mask. And I was like, no, just put some coffee in a cup, put it on the counter, and I'll put the card in and I'll be on my way. And she's wearing a cloth mask and I was like, just put the coffee in a cup. You don't have to talk. Just let's go. I was in a hurry and I can't interact with you until you put a mask on. I'm like, we're interacting now. Just put coffee in a cup, and she wouldn't do it. Longer. She did come over to give me a mask that I gave back to her, and some guy ended up finally coming and putting coffee in a cup. I put the card in the machine. I didn't know that coffees were $4 for a little cup of coffee. I didn't know that.
We just make it a home.
So I got the coffee and we left, and I think that was the day. That was the day we bought our first little roaster.
Then he starts texting me like links to green beans, and I was like, "Are we doing this finally?" He's like, "Yes."
That's so funny. Pushed over the edge, starting on roasting company.
I finally won him over.
So we bought a little roaster. We started roasting for us.
And that was in December?
Was it November or December?
Yeah, it was probably November, December. Somewhere around there. It's the end of the year. It was this tiny little roaster that went on a camp stove.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have the roaster.
We sold it.
You got rid of it?
This one was
you had to put it up like on a shelf or something in a shadow box.
Yeah, well,
it was still $500. That one
was
$500.
We can put that back into the business, you know.
This one.
Oh wow.
Giant one was 17,000.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a beast.
We paid cash for it, so it's like we want some of the money back.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Yeah.
But we started roasting. We bought little. We were buying like 1 or 2 pounds at a time, like little Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have brought out one of the little bags.
Yeah, that's on.
But started doing that, and she would sit here. I don't know, with a piece of paper, because we have software now and all this fancy stuff, but at the time we were just doing it with
this little manual coffee roaster,
and a timer, like trying to make the graphs.
Every 30 seconds I'm marking down the temperature and he's trying to adjust it, but there's really not much adjustments to be made other than the heat. That's like the only thing you could do, right? Turn the heat up, turn the heat down.
It was
there's no bad. Like airflow or anything.
It was pretty bad.
So we tried, but even our first batch, we tried it and we're like, that's actually pretty good. Like I thought it was going to take us a while to kind of get the feel of it and like get it good, but that's totally drinkable. So then we keep going and we're like, this is actually pretty good. Like maybe we should think about selling it. Like
we were giving away a lot.
Yeah, and then people are like, you should sell this. Like,
so well, then, it wasn't long we bought our second roaster, like February. Mm-hmm. So we bought it kind of worked out timing wise with the roasters coming in stock. It's one of those weird things where it was like a highly sought after roaster because it's inexpensive comparatively speaking.
But it gives you a lot more control than anything out there.
So we got that and started, and that kind of, I guess that's probably when I started getting real stupid about coffee
All the little
roasting.
books and the
Oh yeah.
website, YouTube videos, and yeah,
And then you. So I
you
found
got
out
real deep in there.
I didn't know
You
anything.
went down the rabbit hole.
So have you perfected your roast at this point? Like,
I think that's a possibility.
okay, so are you always still changing it, even now?
I'm a little tiny
Minor,
tweaks.
like micro adjustments. It's nothing big, but I
And
think
what makes you decide that?
taste. So you like because we still drink everything. This is our coffee. I'm drinking
Right.
we drink our coffee, and so it's every roaster is different. So this one we've had since almost a year this month.
Yeah.
Next month we've had this one for a year now, and um, it was a giant learning curve on this one at the beginning because like this is a for real one. For real, like with venting and exhaust.
Yeah.
Huge.
all the stuff. Like it's gas powered. The other one was electric.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a huge jump in the right direction.
And it was still like, so even going from the last one to this one, we had taken our coffee to a local guy who's quality, like he's what we want to be, like
one day.
pays attention. He's not just doing, because there are people that are doing it and still have no idea what to do.
Just roast it, bag it,
it's
done.
It's green and now it's brown.
Whatever.
All right.
not- But
That's probably how I would be. I'd be like, all right, this one's good to go. Let's throw it in the pot.
people are doing that. People do that. It's true.
But then you got Brad sitting here, even though he's got software and he's got everything on here, he's still taking notes every single roast, and he writes down what he does. I know.
What
You
is it?
don't give away your secrets. It doesn't matter. It's all different. If they
It's all
don't live
different.
in
It's gonna change tomorrow.
they don't live on our street and buy our beans, it's still gonna be different. So it doesn't matter.
I'm kidding.
So we've made huge strides in consistency. But so the guy down the road, he's got a 15 kilo. This is a 3. He buys quality coffee. He roasts it well. That's the goal. Buy good stuff to start with, and then don't screw it up in the roaster. Because you can buy good beans and still just kind of ruin them.
Really?
By ruin them, I mean like just
Not do the beans justice.
yeah, because they all have something good in them. You just got to go find it, and you can not do that. You can just mass produce it and not care. That's people do that, and that's what I do. Do you?
So can you taste it from one cup of coffee to the next, and you'd be like, oh, this bag, or one bag to the next, or whatever, one roasting session?
No, not anymore.
He'll generally know if it's gone bad, and then we won't serve it. We just toss it.
Oh, really?
He won't drink it. He won't taste it. He's like, nope, this one's bad.
It's drinkable.
It will be drinkable. And then sometimes I try to like.
No, any of those stuff you're gonna throw away, I'll just send you a shipping label. You can just send it over. If you're throwing it away anyway.
We should.
I did that a couple times, especially when we first got the roaster. We were going through a lot. And I was like, I just started putting them in Ziploc bags and take them to homeschool meetings. And I'm like, here, just take like 2-3 pounds of coffee. These are not good enough for us to sell, but I think they're drinkable. And then they would come back to me like, that's the best coffee I've ever had. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, but I can't sell it to you. So.
And that's my problem. Like I can't get it through my head that like you strive for perfection, but you're never going to get it.
Right.
But at the same time, if it goes very much awry, it's like,
well, if it's bad, I won't give it to people. But they weren't bad.
Yeah.
They're not.
They were just not at their peak.
They never are anymore.
No, we don't have any.
They're
unless the gas goes out or something.
Well, yeah.
I think you still even saved that one, didn't you?
I did. So the other day, I ran out of gas mid roast, and we have a pressure gauge, and it's like
it's a little 5-pound propane tank like you have on your grill.
Right.
It's not a big one.
I think we can. I think I have another roast in this tank. I thought I did. And I was like, we're gonna go. And I put it in and went in, and it started off fine, and it started dropping, and I was like, crap. And I looked at the gauge and was like, oh shit. Let's try to save this. And I tried to make adjustments and I tried to save it. Realistically, I probably did by the numbers, but I was like, I don't have time to screw with this, and I need more of this bean. We're just gonna dump it, change the tank, and we're going. I gotta keep going. I just dumped it and I kept going. I don't have time to figure this out. And when that happens, that's 5 pounds of coffee gone.
Yeah.
Dude.
So that's where we are. Like we can't afford to do that, but something won't allow me to.
It's about being, hey, it's a quality thing too. You don't want to, I feel like that's like, it's like pride. You're priding your product. And then what's the point of you? I mean, it's like, I understand it's a short loss for you to put out a quality product versus putting out an inferior product where you're like, hey, you know what? We're just going to do it anyway. And then someone's like, if someone says, hey, that wasn't as good as last time.
Or if it's their first bag from us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're no better than
You definitely don't want to
right.
that and put a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah. Well, I've tried all, like, I don't know that all of the ones you have, but I tried the multi-pack one, and they're all delicious.
Yeah,
they're really good. Yeah. I saved the Costa Rican one because I had like a little affinity for Costa Rica, so I saved it for last. But yeah, they're all really good.
That's what I'm drinking today. Is
it?
I'm just drinking the Ethiopia.
Yeah. Ethiopia is always my favorite.
Is it? So tell me about Battleborn. How did you come up with the name?
Want to do it?
Yeah. Are we doing the full one?
Well, we tried to adjust how we say this because at first I was. It's almost like it started out of spite. It's like, well, if you guys are going to be retarded, then we're going to do this. But so we started during, like we said, during all the COVID and all the, you can't go out without a mask on. You can't, things were shut down. They were shutting down businesses. They were shut down. It was a takeover. It was, right? It
felt like war.
It is war.
Yeah.
So we, being the patriotic American type folks, we felt like we were in the middle of Revolution #2, and where was America born? At war.
Yeah.
Revolutionary War to start this country, and we feel like they've said back then, you're gonna have to fight for your freedoms forever, or they will go away. So that's what we're doing, and we refuse to get into this BS COVID crap, and put the mask on to go wherever. It's like, if you won't let us in as freaking free people, we'll do it ourselves, and we'll sell to the people who are like us and refuse to
bow down.
Yeah. So here we are. That's Battleborn. Coffee company was born in this fight.
Yeah.
America was born in this fight. Same but different back then, and now, and we kind of even related it to daily battles of whatever, the job of the whatever.
Parenting.
Everybody has their stuff to deal with. So
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Where it came from.
That's good. So who actually came up with the name?
It was a mutual thing. We had lots of stuff written down.
There were so many names.
Lots and lots.
Oh my gosh. And it's really hard because there are so many coffee companies.
Yeah.
Like, just even if they're just serving coffee, maybe they're not a coffee roaster, but like, I wanted a unique name that didn't exist. And so I'm trying to come up with all kinds of things. And I thought Meta would be really cool, right? Because it means like encompassing everything, like one step above.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, Meta coffee. I am so glad we didn't go with that.
Yeah, you would have been owned by Facebook.
Right?
That's
I don't know. Yeah, so But,
I'm surprised that even when I saw that, it took me forever to figure out that was even a thing. I'm always behind the time on all this stuff, the Facebook.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what is this? Not knowing that they like owned everything. I don't know. It's just nuts. They'll probably own this podcast when they watch.
I know. Right?
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy though. So then, do you want to tell the story about the farmer's market? You kind of brought it up a little bit, but like, what's going on? Like, how do you guys get kicked out of a farmer's market?
We're very likable people.
You are.
We really are though. Like we're not.
Okay, well, how hard is it to get into? How hard is it to get into a farmer's market?
It's very competitive because they only want one coffee person. Whether you're roasting your own, it doesn't matter. You can only have one coffee person. It doesn't make sense because when you go to a farmer's market, there's 10 people that sell cucumbers.
Yeah.
There's 3 people that roast peppers. They have all different peppers. They roast them different ways. So it's still a different product. And it's the same thing with coffee. You're not, you have craft beers or you have wines. Like it's all different depending on your product and how you do it yourself. So people can buy our exact same beans and roast them in a completely different way, and it's going to taste like a different product.
Right.
But they only want one.
So we found the one we got into was their whole, what's the word? Their whole thing, I don't know the word, was
the base of their business is
we don't care.
Just everybody, it's fine.
We don't care if there's 20 coffee guys. That's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
You deal with the competition. I'm like, cool.
And there are loads of jewelry companies there, and there's a couple different clay guys, but they all have their own different style. So it's still not the same product. So, and I don't have a problem with competition. I don't care.
Well, there's several coffee roasters here in Tucson. I don't dislike any of them. We've talked to many of them. They're, for the most part, good dudes. Like one came up to our booth at this market, who they roast not far from here, but they say they have a 10 kilo. They have the same company roaster we bought ours from, just a bigger one. Came up, and I'm 99% sure we're very different people. But he came up and he's like, "Oh, what are you roasting on?" And I was like, "Who are you?" This and that. He said who he was, and I'm like, we talked for a good little bit about roasting coffee because it's a craft. It's
right.
It's cool.
It's really involved. Yeah, there's a lot.
Good guy. But so there's a coffee shop, not a roastery,
in the plaza.
that this farmers market was set up in. So there's restaurants and yoga studios and
a lot of businesses
whatever right there. And they have a brick and mortar, and they I guess the management company or whatever, it's all like intertwined. The farmers market management and the
plaza
for lack of a better term, the HOA of the
just the plaza people, like
right.
the people who manage the plaza are in control of what happens.
So the coffee shop decided they wanted no competition, even though that was why we got in there in the first place.
We were only there on Saturdays from 10 to 3.
They're like, nah.
My little tiny tent is competing that much with you that I can't even stand here and sell some coffee beans when you don't even roast your own coffee. Whatever.
So they sent us a message on Facebook one day, and they're like, "Y'all are gone."
Yeah, you're out.
Really?
Yeah. Don't come back next week.
So now is it strictly online? Everything's online?
We're in one coffee shop here. Grandma Coffee on Ina. They have it's just a coffee shop. They buy coffee from another roastery in town. And we have bags of coffee sitting on the shelf there.
Do they brew your coffee as well, or just sell bags?
No. They sell bags.
Yeah.
I don't think we're at a point where we can sell at the price that they're getting their coffee, because there's markups on everything and
right.
cost. The place they're getting it from, fine roastery. I can't say anything bad about them. They but they're bigger. They're just bigger. So
the more you roast, the more you can buy in bulk, and that really makes a big difference. If you can buy like an entire skid of coffee or an entire container of coffee at a time, like that's going to make a huge difference. Yeah. There's a huge price drop for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So where can people find your coffee? What's your website?
Battleborn.coffee. We have subscriptions available on there, so you can set it up to receive shipments every 2 weeks up to 8 weeks, and choose which one you want, whichever roast you like. If you like to start with a sample pack, you can start with a sample pack. And we also have 3-ounce samples that you can get individually. If you like Mexico Chiapas, you can order the sample and have that sent to you. And then we're going to do a discount code, 10%, and it's going to be grab a cup.
Oh yeah.
Text in grab a cup, we'll get 10% off their first order.
Grab a cup. Does it matter what the
One word.
One word. Grab a cup. That's really cool. So 10% off their first order.
Yep. And then we do offer.
Man, I already ordered something.
I know. That's all right. We'll give you another.
I'll have my wife do it. I'm kidding.
So
I don't know. Shopify might kick you out because you have the same address. They're pretty smart about that.
No, they are. So who does that? How does that work? So if someone goes and gets a subscription,
yeah.
Who's distributing this coffee? Are you doing all the work?
We do. Yeah.
So you're managing the subscriptions and you're distributing them monthly, and how does it
plug in on our Shopify site?
Yeah.
Okay.
She spent a lot of time at the beginning because there are some cool companies or whatever you want to call them that have like
providers for the shops
for websites,
yeah.
businesses. Right. There's like Wix and Shopify, and there's some others. Mm-hmm. But she did a lot of research on Wix versus Shopify versus I remember Wix and Shopify.
And you have to look into like what features each one has. So
right.
It a while.
Yeah.
But we like Shopify. It has a lot of stuff, and if it doesn't have what you need, there's usually an app, which is kind of like a little plugin for the site that will allow you to manage it. So it's working out pretty well. I'm not saying there are no bugs, but occasionally we find little things. It's like when you select this coffee, you can't do a local delivery. It's like, why? I don't know. But I don't know.
One time somebody in Indiana tried to order, and it's like they won't let us order. Ship to Indiana. It's
yeah.
Like, why?
What the heck?
Hold on.
There's a whole like shipping profile thing you have to figure out. It's a whole thing.
Really?
I spent hours.
You can't ship to certain places?
Well,
now we can. That was like in the beginning.
Okay.
There was like a shipping profile I had set up, I guess, that didn't allow. I don't know. It's very confusing the way the shipping on Shopify
that's
works.
The thing. Like we're not perfect, and we're not.
Yeah.
Like, we know that there are people who go into something like this, and it's like, I'm going to do it perfect, and we'll start off with everybody who knows what they're doing. The coffee roaster knows what they're doing. The web person knows what they're doing. The distributor knows, like they all know what they're doing. We don't know anything.
We're learning as we go.
I spent a lot.
That's the way I do stuff too. Just we're testing and see how it goes.
Exactly.
I spent a lot of time learning how to turn coffee.
He worked on the coffee, and I worked on the business.
Yeah. And so we feel like we're doing a pretty good job. But like if people have problems, email us with the website or whatever, with the shipping.
Oh yeah, we get messaging on the website. You can just message me, and it goes straight to my phone.
Crap, we didn't know that. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, I get right on top of it and try and figure it out.
But we didn't want to be. I don't think either one of us wanted to be the company that hired everything done. Like we wanted. We're gonna
learn how to do it yourself.
If we're gonna sell you a bag of coffee, we want it to be our bag of coffee.
Yep.
Nothing against anybody who does it another way, but like that's just how we wanted to do it. So we bought this giant roaster and spent nothing on learning how to do it, really.
Yeah. Right. Like no classes.
We threw a bunch of coffee away.
Yes.
We did throw a bunch of coffee away.
You gotta stop doing that. We need to figure out a way to not throw coffee away.
No, I did. Let me show you something. Talking while I find it, but there's this one.
There are not a lot of books available for coffee roasting, and there are not a lot of people willing to talk about it. It's generally passed along from person to person. So you need to work for a coffee roaster if you want to learn the craft. So we found a lot of videos online by the people who make our roaster, and that was kind of one of the deciding factors that helped us go with them. Because it's like, you know what? They've put all this information out there for free. and they have some really good customer service. So we want to support them in what they're doing. So we went ahead and went with them for our roaster.
What's the name of the company?
Mill City Roasters. They're in Minneapolis, right?
Okay.
Minnesota. But
In fact, we were just on the phone with them this morning and last.
yeah,
No,
Oh,
this
really?
morning.
yeah, we had a problem with the roaster connecting, but I think we got it fixed now. So we should be getting the
This-
roast today.
A little tiny box
This whole book,
in this book
$50 book.
changed everything.
Really?
One little box has changed the way he roasts from now on. So
And it really made things.
these are the kind of
More
things you have to
consistent.
like go out and try and find out yourself, because we don't have the time to like go be a roaster at a place, you know.
Yeah.
I got 3 kids at home all the time. He's got 12 hours working and gone every day.
Yeah.
So
I know. How do you
yeah,
find that time? That's a lot of time.
it really is.
So I would at the beginning, I was doing a lot of roasting out here at night. So I come out here after work and roast coffee, because you can do it whenever.
Yeah.
That's the thing about not having a shop or a store. Or you can do whatever, whenever. Like in bag coffee in the middle of the night, middle of the day, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
we do. Yeah.
Yeah, you can-
We're always begging something, some crazy hour, or doing something. There's coffee beans in like every room of the house.
It's on the shoes.
Yeah.
That's funny. So there's the contraption behind you. Okay, that's the roasting machine.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is
It's
it.
hooked up to a ventilation system.
Yeah. You see it goes up and then out of the shed.
Yeah, that's cool.
Generate some smoke and some
Yeah.
heat. It's really hot in here in the summer
Is it?
anyway. But then when you got that roaster going, it's really hot.
You said your neighbor has one that's bigger, just down the street.
He's a proper coffee shop. They have,
Oh,
they have
okay.
a couple stores.
Yeah.
So
Maybe 2 miles away.
Yeah, he bought I don't know how long they've been open, but so he's a good dude, and he bought a 10 kilo. They shipped it to him, and it was a weird thing that it came dented, or something was broken. Something was wrong with it. And these things are like they're a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's giant.
He had already signed off on it, and he found out it was dented and called the company. He's like, "Crap, I signed off on it." They were really cool. They hooked him up with a 15 kilo instead of a 10. Like flew it in special, sent someone out to like help him learn how to use it, because that's a process, learning how to
Huge.
use them.
Yeah.
And so really quality stuff, right, all the way around. When we started roasting, I took him bags this size compared to our normal size.
Right. So there's the sample packs.
Yeah. So this is a sample bag. This is a 3-ounce sample bag. These are $6 on the site, and this one specifically is 17.
17.
The other ones are 18, but we get to Mexico for a little bit less. So this is our full size bag, 12 ounce.
All right.
So we took him the coffee, and we're like, "Hey, will you drink these and tell us how we're doing," kind of thing. And so he did, and a lot of time went by, and I heard nothing, and I was like, "I'm like, what's going on?" So
He's a busy guy too. He
He
works
is.
full time
he is.
and runs
Yeah.
the coffee shop. So
He has a job. I thought that was, I don't know. Anyway,
okay, we don't know.
I thought that was his job. Anyway, so he didn't get back to us. I finally get a hold of him, and he's like, I kind of forgot what they taste like. Did you? Are you sure? So I brought him some more. I brought him all 5, and I brought him
From the
more
new roaster.
From the new roaster. I didn't say anything. I was like, "Here's 5 more, whenever you get around to it." And like a few days later, a week later, he sends a picture. He's got this proper tasting room and everything, like humidity.
The table has to be at the right height. You have to have the
Yeah.
right cups and certain spoons. The water's a certain temperature. Like everything is very precise.
We're not quite that way,
That's
but
the SCA
yeah,
way to do it.
the
Specialty coffee.
association. the shit.
Yeah.
So what was the result?
So he he sends me a picture of all of our bags and the cups and all this stuff, and he's like, "Did you get a new roaster since the last time you sent me or gave me coffee?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, all he said was much better. I'm like, you knew what they're tasting like.
That's so funny.
He didn't want to make us feel bad, telling
So-
us that their coffee wasn't very good. So
So he's like, you really cleaned it up. He's like, not that it was bad, but you really cleaned it up. And I'm like, okay, good. What does that mean? He really did a lot of explaining. We talked on the phone. He explained a lot of things, and that's kind of when we learned that they say smaller is better, which is not false really, but in this regard, maybe
smaller
to a certain
batches. What do you mean smaller? What's better?
well, like small batch or handmade or
Oh.
this or that. People think smaller is better, like small batch coffee, small batch beer, small batch and it is good. But what is defined small? Because everything's relative. If we were roasting on a 1 kilo before, it wasn't as good as a 3 kilo now. Did I learn more between them? Of course. But the roaster has something to do with that too. Because it's more industrial, it's more real.
Right.
So it made it taste better. And that's why you see he's also small batch roasted coffee, but he's doing it on 15 kilos. Is it small? It depends on who you're
As
asking.
you're comparing to, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you compare it to the big
If you compare
ones
it
at the
to
grocery store, we're all small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, I think so.
yeah, no, of course. And that's what I mean. Like, so when people say small, and you're like, because somebody did ask me when we got the new roaster at work, was like, oh, is it no longer small batch? Is it going to be as good? It's like, people are already telling me it's better, so that's a plus. It's a good thing. Increasing size of the roasters is turning out to be a good thing.
Sure.
So maybe when we upgrade and we go to a full-on warehouse and a 10 kilo or 15 or whatever we're going to,
Still small. It doesn't.
maybe it'll be better. I don't know. Who knows?
You start giving tours of your.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're gonna do some homeschool field trips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. That'd be cool.
Right now, it's
Yeah.
obviously you can see it's super small. We have some coffee. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's
Yeah.
coffee bags back there from like where we get our coffee.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
The roaster, and then we got a flag over here. It's super tight in here, but for now, it does what it needs to do because it was a bag and sell kind of thing, not a
Yeah.
or.
So ultimate goal is like next big coffee shop here or what? Or coffee roasting?
Yeah, I mean,
Would you like to have your own shop?
a shop would have to be later, unless.
Yeah. We go back and forth on wanting a coffee shop because doing the market really opened our eyes to what serving coffee looks like.
Yeah.
It's more just give me my coffee, and that's not what we're about. We're about quality coffee. So people coming up, where's the whipped cream? Do you have espressos? Like, no, we roast really good coffee. Just try it.
Right.
But that's where we're at. And
At least have an open mind and
sure.
you try it first and see appreciate it for what it is. If you like cream in your coffee, then do that. But at least understand that because you can mask
It changes
crappy
the
coffee.
flavor.
You
Yeah.
can mask crappy coffee with
Oh
with
yeah, for sure.
anything to it.
Yeah.
But you can also get really good coffee and make it different but better with adding cream to it or sugar but we're more purists, I guess, in a way. So the chemical.
Do you not add anything to your coffee when you drink it?
She does sometimes heavy cream because
But
it's
mostly black. I never put sugar. I cannot stand sugar in my coffee.
Interesting. I haven't gotten to black coffee. I have to always add something to it. But
I generally drink it black just because it's easiest.
Yeah, I haven't added sugar for a long time either.
yeah.
Just make the coffee, put it in a cup, and you drink it. But I understand, and I'm not anti putting cream in coffee. Like that's not.
But let it stand on its own
Yeah.
and try it.
Understand
Because
and appreciate that it's good.
It's like tasting a wine and then like mixing something else in with it, or like a craft beer. You're not gonna mix something with it. You're not gonna just squirt a lime in it first before you take a drink, right? You want to taste what that beer tastes like first. Or
Yeah.
that wine, why doctor it up because you're convinced that every cup of beer needs to have lime in it. That doesn't need to happen, you know. Look at it differently. It can be
Yeah,
a
that makes
beverage
sense.
yeah.
That's what we would tell people. So some people come to the market and like there was an older crowd that was just don't care. If it's not Folgers and $3 for a 5-gallon bucket at home, then they don't care.
And that's fine. Those aren't our
Yeah,
people.
that's
You know,
okay.
we want the people who want really good quality coffee that's not sprayed with chemicals, that's made with care and precision and
Yeah,
handcrafted, you know.
with care. I mean, we understand that there's way higher dollar coffee than we have,
Yeah.
and we understand that there's way cheaper.
Mhm.
But we do care about quality. We have spent a lot of time learning how to make it better.
Yes.
We buy high quality to start with, not $20 a pound or $30 a pound coffee, but not $2 a pound coffee, you know?
Yeah.
And then stand behind the personality of the business of, you know, Americanism, the freaking patriotic, you know,
supporting
free
law
people.
enforcement, supporting
I like
the
that.
people. Yeah.
And there's a
So
lot
right
of,
now it seems like when you talk about the coffee shop, specifically Brad, comparing that to your other job, you light up more. You're definitely more invested mentally, I feel like, in what's going on with the roasting and stuff like that compared to your day job, I would say, right? So and you talked about earlier, if you could be a professional athlete and just focus on professional athlete,
cool, huh?
would you do it? What would it look like? So what would it look like if you're a professional coffee roaster and that was it? What would it look like?
I don't know. It's hard to know because we can't, at the current stage with the 3 kids and everything, and if we had a ton of money, things would be different. We don't,
Oh yeah.
and we're trying to make this. It's been a little bit since we put our own money into this.
Yeah,
business.
it's standing on its own.
But
great.
growing it's harder than I thought it would be. So with that being the case, I think the next logical step is a bigger roaster in a bigger place, because that would mean we're selling enough coffee to
pay for the
pay
space.
For that. And if we had money, then we were able to hire employees. Obviously, that changes really everything. And if that's
all the bagging and the shipping, that's very time consuming.
Right. And if that's the case, then a storefront almost makes more sense. And maybe even to a small degree, like, you know, there's a brewery down the road from us that I don't know where they started exactly, but their biggest portion, they're not where you expect them to be. They're not where you expect a bar to find a bar.
It's more of a tasting room.
Yeah, like a tap room.
Yeah.
But it's a cool little outfit. Marine, retired.
Surprising when you walk in there. It's very cool.
Good dude.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
Yeah.
But it almost appears that they started as we're brewing beer here with all the tanks and all the stuff. And then it's like, hey, we could open a tap room. Let's just put up a wall here and some bathrooms over here.
Boom, tap room.
And some pallets to separate the front and the back.
I feel like a lot of those start that way.
I think it's awesome. I think it's a really awesome place. And cool lighting and all this kind of stuff. And now they have a tap room.
So that's probably the direction. If you had your way, well, that would probably be, and you weren't working all the time, that would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So when you look for your next big spot, just make sure that the little front room there's still walking space. So when you put up that wall, you're ready to go.
So I don't know. There's somebody in town who has, I think he's only roasting in the back and making some cold brew, and there's no coffee drinking. It's just selling bags of coffee, sort of a place.
It's just a storefront with bagged coffee.
And no employees. I don't know. I don't understand the financials.
That would be awesome.
But
to just do that and not have to serve drinks, because once you do the drinks, people's expectations are totally different.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's hard. We're still figuring a lot of we're doing it all as we go. So we're learning. It's cool to see different setups and see what you like and dislike, and then figure out, okay, there's this option, there's this option, there's this option. What fits us more?
So I feel like a tap room. See, we need to do that like for coffee, where you have like a tap room and you just come in and try it, and everybody just sit down and it's about the drink.
Yeah,
just like the craft brewery places, just like the wineries.
Yeah.
Why can't coffee be like that? You know?
I think it could.
Yeah.
And maybe someday, yeah, like.
So, okay, the two of you going through all these changes from Indiana to Cincinnati to California to Arizona, you bouncing all around, growing your family, now starting a new business. What advice do you have, or what insights can you take from this point, looking back on your lives together, to help new couples or people who are in a similar situation, whether they're a first responder or just really, maybe they're just like really busy with the job that they have right now, but they also have this idea that they want to start something else. What insights can you bring to them and the ability to do this together?
I think that's the most important part, is that we're both on the same page with it, because we've talked to a lot of small businesses where it's just like the husband is doing it, or the law enforcement officer has his own business, but like the wife isn't involved in any way. And I think if I wasn't helping, there's no way this would happen, because he can't have the time to manage all of this. So I think having at least two people involved is a big thing, and you have to know how to work together.
And you're gonna you're gonna screw up. You're gonna do things that are stupid, and you learn. Look back, it's like, wow,
there's so many times, like with the market, like once we started the market, I was like, oh my gosh, we can sell the coffee for this much, and every cup we make this much profit, it's going to be great. But then like sitting there week after week, and like maybe there's nobody coming by for an hour, and you're just sitting there thinking, my kids are at home, I could be with my kids right now. Brad's off at work. Most of the time it was me sitting at the market by myself. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time.
And in a way, you kind of are.
Yeah. But it was good for building the business. But then you learn, like, what do I want to do? Figure out.
Kind of learn we don't want to do that.
Yeah, we learn. Yeah, we don't really like that. That's not my thing. So I don't know that I would want to own a coffee shop unless I have someone serving the drinks.
Where you can run it and not manage it. If that makes sense.
Well, like you manage it, but not like not be making the drinks.
Right.
Every day.
Yeah.
Or you can where you can.
Yeah, you can choose. Like, what? I'll make a pour over for you, whatever. But like, I don't want to have to be there for 8 hours or however long the business is open, only serving drinks that people don't appreciate.
Yeah. The fact that you two are on the same page, I think, is the most important. Like you said before, like you guys working together and having like a kind of, like you said, it's this whole thing idea of like born in battle, right? Like you guys are battling together to make sure this thing is successful in whatever it looks like, whether it's small or big or however you guys make it look.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it changes. I think you have all these different ideas, and you want to do all sorts of things, like super crafty and super, she's more looks. She's way better at like making things look good, and whether it's bags or whatever. And I think it kind of took a personality that was maybe not what she had envisioned initially.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But
we started going in this direction. I was like, wait, this wasn't really.
But
what I thought. It's kind of taken on its own personality. Yeah,
you adjusted, and like we did start it as wanting to what's that called when you like buck the system or whatever, like stand up to the
challenge, like
I don't
know.
So you kind of have
status quo, like challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
And there's in a lot of we're different from what many, I guess, of the
Most of the
quality
coffee people are woke.
are doing.
And
So while the bags might look rougher,
I think they have a more masculine
yeah.
identity.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that.
The company in general does.
Not what you wanted.
That's not what I originally thought. It was going to be flowers and very feminine. But then the more that I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? I think we need to find our people, and I think our people are law enforcement
And it's even,
and
I mean, it's not
patriotic.
Yeah, but it's not just
or they
dudes,
support law enforcement. Yeah, I mean, it can be the wives too.
because
I
it is family. Like it's,
Yeah.
family is important, and like there's we are involved with homeschool groups, multiple even, and it is cool that the moms can relate to, it's like the Costa Rica having George crossing the river on the like in the background, and we got Paul Revere on the Lexington and stuff. They can relate to that too, and a lot of those people also are same as us, patriotic. They're sick of the crap that's going on, and like they can relate to that also. So it's not just guys.
No, it's not just men.
You know what I mean? It's
Well, I think the branding looks great. I mean, I all the packaging is amazing. That's why when you said you're the graphic designer, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
So, and the coffee obviously tastes amazing. So you guys are doing it right. I mean, I wouldn't know the difference between your 1 kilo versus your 3 kilos one. But I mean,
I don't know.
I want to bring out the tasting cups.
Yeah, right.
That's cool though. Was there anything last words you want to offer to the people listening? Well, we've got to reiterate your websites. You said battleborn.coffee.
Battleborn.coffee. And so probably the one that sells the most is this one, right? So I just want to draw attention to this label on the borderline. That is a picture of a mountain that Brad has stood on. That's a helicopter that came to pick him up one day.
Wow.
The guys are from pictures that he took, and I made it into a label.
That's really cool.
Again, it gives you a feel for what it's like being out in the mountains, searching for groups, looking for drugs, So this one is dedicated to our Border Patrol guys. And then we have the 6, which is for law enforcement, first responders, military. And so this right here is a new product that we're working on fleshing out all the details. Right now it's really time consuming to make, but what it is coffee in a tea bag.
Okay.
So you have a ready cup of coffee to go. All you need is a mug and some hot water. Oh yeah.
So how would that work? Coffee in a tea bag is actually you stick that into a coffee cup in hot water.
Yep, in some hot water. You can take it camping. You can take it out in the field. Whatever, you're traveling in a hotel and they got crappy Keurig coffee. All you need to do is go get some hot water and put it in a mug, and then you've got some really good coffee.
Can I ask, is that already a thing? I've never heard this before.
So it is. Funny story.
Yeah.
So we had this brilliant idea. Like I say, we
talk about this all the time. This is like we're just talking about coffee all day. We're texting each other.
So we had this idea, and she's been trying to find bags that fit, and I've been finding the tea bags because there's all kinds of tea bags, different material, different sizes, different this and that.
We don't want to fall apart.
Yep.
Right.
Bust. So the tea bag is sealed closed, and then this bag is sealed closed. There's 2 sealings in one bag. And we're doing this all ourselves.
No, there's no machines. This is all manually measured out. 15 grams of coffee, you grind it, and then you use a little spoon and put it in the bag. So we got to figure out a better way to do this.
So we did.
We're getting real close to not being able to do this manually anymore.
We did this, and she's like, see the bottom? Can you read the? How can I?
It's got some little icons to show you
how to make.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was sitting there the other day trying to figure out how we gonna make this, because it's small. How can we make this simple and easy, but they know what to do with this when they get it?
Right.
So you can be out camping
So
and follow directions.
we looked at, this is a thing. We didn't know this was a thing until we had this done and we're trying to make the label. So there are companies you can send these out to, send your coffee to. They'll bag it, everything for you. Separate label, everything. Do everything for you. But you gotta send them a whole bunch of coffee, and we're not that big. So we can't
don't
afford it.
also we don't like to have that much coffee sitting.
Because
Right.
we keep it fresh.
We try to roast mostly to order. So we just kind of keep up with our orders
We try to
and
by
we don't
the
leave
week.
too much. Yeah.
It's like a weekly rotation,
Yeah.
So there's a company that already does this packaging.
Yeah.
but better
The-
because
Okay,
it's,
but yeah, but it already exists. Okay.
yeah, it's a thing. The company's called like steeped coffee or something.
yeah. So
Steeped-
apparently everybody just uses them.
we didn't know. So as we were looking for how we are gonna do this, we found this out,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, freak. Oh
Well, that
well,
would've
like
been-
it's
That would have been good. I mean, that would have been great during COVID.
right.
And all the coffee shops were closed and stuff. That would have been great for all the agencies to have on hand, like so people can just like make a quick cup of coffee and not have to worry about like roasting a whole pot. Because the stations, like you don't want to roast a whole pot if you're gonna have one cup of coffee in the afternoon. You don't need a whole pot of coffee sitting there for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So
Good for offices.
I don't know if there's a way to like look at police agencies maybe or something like that first. See if they'll order a large amount, then you can send them off so they're already pre-ordered,
There you go.
and then you don't have to have them on hand.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of all different ways to do different stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's really cool. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to sort it out, but again, we're doing it all ourselves. So
This is everything right here.
Yeah. Hey, you guys got a lot on your plate, but you're doing it. You're on the battlefield. You got it going.
That's
Yeah.
right.
that's
All right,
all.
so all right, so we'll wrap up. But so it's battleborn.coffee. It's where you can get your subscriptions and you can get your the taster pack. What do you guys call it? Sample pack?
Sample
Sample
pack.
pack?
Yeah.
Sample pack. And
Grab a
for listeners, if you use Grab a Cup, GRABACUP, in a discount code, it's 10% off your first order.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will appreciate it. I'll put that out on the show notes as well. So if you're looking for that, and we'll put a link to your website there too. I really appreciate you guys coming on. This is fun. So I know we've been talking about it for a couple months, so I'm glad I finally got you on here.
Yeah, it's kind of hectic sometimes.
Hey, man, you're busy, man. Yeah, I don't know. Both of you guys are nonstop, especially with the kids. I don't know how you can do it.
Her job's harder than mine.
Well, again, appreciate it. And we'll close out. You can find this on letsgrabacup.com or sturgeonwellness.com, and find me on Instagram at Let's Grab a Cup. And you find you guys on Instagram at Battleborn Coffee Roasters.
Yep.
Right. Cool. Well, thanks again. We'll just get this outro music on. Appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks. You too.